Now we find Ison spying on John while he is being bullied by two guys. One of them is yelling because John made his uniform dirty after bumping into him. He demands an apology. Instead, John calls him trash and tells him to get out of his sight. The bully gets enraged, grabbing John's shirt and daring him to repeat himself. Reaching the edge of his patience, John calls him trash once again. Before the situation escalates, Ison steps in, kicking the bully aside. The bully groans in pain until he notices that it was Ison who struck him. They immediately rush away from the scene, terrified. John begins picking up his papers, and Ison approaches to ask him if everything is all right, but John slaps his hand away, telling him with a stern gaze not to touch him. John starts walking off while Ison remains frozen in place, thinking that he has to keep John calm until Serafina comes back. Outside of Wellston, Arlo is waiting for Remy on a bench in a park. She finally arrives, and Arlo calls her Pinky while reminding her that it's late. Remy counters, calling him Aslo. She finally sits, and Arlo tells her that he heard about the bomb incident at the mall. She brushes it off, saying it wasn't a big deal, just a smoke bomb. However, it was serious enough for her to be called to the headmaster's office. Arlo reminds her that it's important how she presents herself outside of school because there's a reputation to uphold. She shifts the topic, mentioning that the details in the article about the bomb incident were very precise, except for the fact that they were framed. It's as if the person who wrote the article had been watching their every move. Remy changes the subject again, saying she heard the rumors about Arlo visiting the infirmary. Arlo is shocked. He made sure no one was following him that morning, but hides it with a smile. He says it's ridiculous for her to believe such things, but Remy replies that it might be true considering everything that's been going on. Arlo concludes that they're both being monitored. Remy continues, saying that since he's the strongest among them, he might be able to ignore it, but the rest are scared. Arlo then asks her to explain exactly what happened at the mall. Remy explains that they only stopped at a booth offering prizes to everyone with a 5 or more on the level scale. In other words, high tiers. The moment she received her prize, she already knew it had a chip in it, and that's because the prize was the same teddy bear Serafina had. This last detail made them realize that Sarah was probably being tracked too. Arlo then concludes that the person who wrote the article must be working under Cecile, who is also a high tier. Those people likely have information about all high tiers at Wellston. But what troubles Arlo the most is how long this has been going on, and what their true purpose is. Remy still keeps her composure, believing that Arlo was still safe, but then everything clicks. The fact that someone spread rumors about Arlo being injured means he's also being observed. Remy stands up, realizing that the rumors were actually true. Her face, full of disappointment, can't believe Arlo lied to her. She demands to know if hiding the truth was really that necessary. Arlo averts his gaze, trying to reassure her that everything's fine. She yells, saying that nothing around them is okay. She starts trembling, trying to understand why he acts like that, especially after what happened to Remy's brother. She keeps shouting, saying that nobody is invincible, while Arlo looks perplexed. Remy calms down a little and sits again, asking why he's acting like Ray, always hiding things from her while everyone around keeps getting hurt. Remy starts crying. Her helplessness overtakes her. She doesn't think she'll be able to endure losing someone else again. Arlo embraces her as she tries to wipe her tears. He reassures her that he's strong, so he'll be fine. But instead of giving her peace, she responds that Ray was also strong. The tension eases a bit, and Remy decides to ask who was able to defeat Arlo, but he confesses he can't say a word. She tries to guess, accusing the Ember organization. But Arlo is surprised, wondering why Ember would go after someone like him. Arlo tries to reassure her again, saying that those injuries aren't anything serious, just some personal matters. He'll reveal everything eventually, so she shouldn't worry. Arlo brings up the high-tier situation again, and is completely certain that the answers must lie within someone at school. At the airport, a mysterious man steps off a plane holding a slip of paper with John's address. Meanwhile, at Wellston, Arlo walks through the hallway, deep in thought. His classmate has to raise his voice to bring him back to focus. Just then, John accidentally bumps into Arlo again. Arlo immediately tenses up, unsure of what John will do. Before anything happens, Arlo's classmate grabs John, ready to punish him for bumping into the king. But Arlo stops him harshly, grabbing his arm and applying pressure. The classmate is shocked. He's never seen Arlo lose composure like that. Arlo reprimands him, saying that someone powerful like him should focus on more productive things instead of wasting energy on someone as worthless as John. He releases the classmate and walks off, leaving him confused. As he continues walking, Arlo's thoughts are filled with disgust toward John. He hates how John hides his power, pretending to be powerless. Even worse, John is dragging Serafina into that same mindset. Arlo sees it as cowardly, abandoning the responsibilities that come with strength and leaving everything to him. Around the corner, Ison has seen everything. He's thrilled at the idea of a confrontation between two kings. He'd love to write about it, but he values his life too much to try. Elsewhere, in John's house, Serafina is sitting and checking her phone when the mysterious man from earlier suddenly opens the door. He calls out to John but pauses, startled to see Serafina instead, thinking that he just broke into someone's house. She quickly realizes that he is John's father. He recognizes her too, thanks to her distinctive purple hair. They both shake hands, and John's dad introduces himself as William. Serafina mentions that John talks about him often, which makes William a bit flustered. When he asks where John is, Sarah says he should be back soon from school and casually adds that she's suspended. Curious, William asks why, as he thinks what kind of classmates John is hanging with. Sarah reveals it's because she got caught reading a book called Unordinary. Hearing that shocks William. He instantly connects the dots. John had asked him for a new copy of Unordinary after his previous one got confiscated. William had no idea John had shared the book with someone else, let alone someone like Serafina. He's amazed she wasn't expelled for it. Serafina confidently says there's no way they could get rid of her. William quietly wonders why kids nowadays act so self-important, remembering that even John got expelled once despite his strength. He mentions that John wasn't kidding when he told him that Sarah was very powerful, and out of curiosity, he asks who is stronger between her and John. He shows a proud expression for his son while waiting for the answer, still unaware that John hides his abilities. But his expression breaks when Sarah starts laughing, taking William's question as a joke. Just then, the door opens. John's back. He's surprised to see his dad and immediately asks what he's doing there. William raises an eyebrow, amused that John expects him to need a reason to visit his own son. John, clearly caught off guard, complains that William should have told him beforehand. William calmly replies that he tried, but John either ignored his calls or hung up. John asks Serafina for a moment alone with his dad and tries to pull him aside, but William doesn't move. He scolds John for being disrespectful toward his father. Serafina watches them with a soft smile, noting that William is nothing like her own mother. Outside, William lectures John, saying he needs to answer calls or else he'll worry. With no other choice, he decided to visit him in person. John assures him that everything is fine. William smirks, teasing that of course things are fine. John's got a girl living with him. John blushes and quickly clarifies that Sarah is only staying there because she's suspended and had nowhere else to go. He couldn't just leave her like that. William settles down and says Sarah seems like a good girl. Curious, John asks what they talked about. Proudly, William shares that he learned Sarah got suspended because of John and that apparently John can't stop talking about his dad. He even asked her who was stronger between the two. John instantly reacts, almost shouting, "Why would he ask that?" William, calm as ever, says he was just curious. John panics, afraid that Sarah might have figured out the truth. He asks what she said, and upon hearing that she laughed it off, he breathes a sigh of relief. But William senses something's off. He questions John's strange behavior and gets more suspicious when John refuses to talk. William says if John won't explain, he'll just ask Sarah. That finally breaks John. Desperate, he begs his dad to wait and then tells him the truth. William doesn't understand. Why pretend to be powerless? He reminds John that he always taught him to defend himself, not hide. John lowers his gaze, haunted by old memories. He recalls how, at his previous school, people constantly talked behind his back, calling him a tyrant and a terrible person. John was not able to control himself, and he ended up losing his temper, doing everything in his power to shut them up. It got to the point that he started to think that he didn't deserve his own power. William listens quietly and tells him that, whether he deserves it or not, that power will always be part of him. John nods, but says living like a cripple feels more right. With Sarah by his side, he can be himself without being judged for how strong he is. But William challenges that. He talks about trust, yet he's lying to her. The words hit John hard. How long does he plan to keep hiding it? William reminds him he can't keep it up forever. John snaps, saying he knows that already, but right now, he has no reason to tell her. Internally, William suspects John's real fear, that Sarah will leave him once she finds out. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.